This book, I'm so done with Kale. I hate him. We need to find a way to free him. I'm gonna help. No! Hello, I am currently reading Queen of Shadows. I started it yesterday. I am only about 40 pages into it, and the first page of this book, I am not happy. I am so not happy right now. So the first page is from Dorian's perspective after they've put the collar on him. It's so sad. It literally says he could not remember his name. That was the first thing he'd forgotten when the darkness enveloped him weeks or months or eons ago. Then he'd forgotten the names of the others who had meant so much to him. Why? Oh, it's horrible. One of the Dark Princes is attempting to take over his body, it seems, and they're kind of waiting for him to give in to the darkness. I'm gonna carry on reading this at the moment. I'm not impressed, I'm not happy. Also, like, Arabin's back in the picture and I hate him. I forgot how much he annoyed me at the end of Throne of Glass, after you find out he's betrayed Selena, and I can't remember who it is. The guy turns around to him and says, "Why did you do it?" And he says something like, "I don't like people touching my property." I was so annoyed when I read that line. I was like, excuse me? Like, no. I hate him. So, let's continue. Kale is being such a dick right now, trying to make out that it is Selena's fault that what happened to Dorian happened. What is he talking about? Calling her a monster? I am so done with Kale. Like, Kale is the one that ran off and left Dorian with the king, abandoned him, and now he's having a go at Selena. No. No thank you. Okay, so I just finished chapter 9 of Queen of Shadows. This book, oh my god, it gets to me. We've just had the part where Lysandra comes to see Selena, and she brings a little girl with her, and the little girl explains how Lysandra would have been free, she would have been paid off her debts, but instead she cut the little girl's face so that the little girl would not have to be a courtesan, and she was charged the amount that it would have cost her for that girl, so she is still working for them. So she basically sacrificed herself all over again for this child. And then Aelin mentions how Nehemia would have done the same. It's so sad. Hello, so it is Friday night. I am in my cozy reading nook. I have my iPad set up over here with, I'm watching Sasha's Sprints, and I think at midnight tonight, Becca's Bookopolis Sprints will start at about midnight, so I might catch some of that. But I'm carrying on with Queen of Shadows, and I'm on chapter 25. So far, they've been to the Glass Palace, and she has rescued Adian. That whole scene was so fun, like just the plan and everything that they'd hatched and seeing it all unravel. And when she saw Dorian and she tried to get him to like prove that he was still in there and he couldn't, and so she thinks he's not, and she nearly killed him. And then I forgot her name, there's a girl that's friends with Kale that stopped her killing him. Oh my gosh, we're getting like the odd chapter from Dorian, and he's like still seems to be conscious, so I'm kind of like, is there gonna be a way to free him? We need to find a way to free him. I'm gonna help. The books are already written. I'm really enjoying this book. Still loving Manon, still loving Abraxas. Really intrigued to see like when the two storylines are going to meet. So I'm gonna carry on reading and we'll see what happens. So I've just finished chapter 30. Rowan has arrived in Adelan, and I'm loving the banter between him and Aelin again. When she invited him to sleep in her bed, and he was like saying to her that she needs to make it clear to everyone that it's purely for protection, like nothing dodgy's going on. And so she deliberately got changed into like the skimpy nightdress. Then he's there laid awake because she's in this skimpy nightdress and he can't sleep. So chapter 30 it's gone back to Dorian's perspective again. It's just so sad. So the demon has taken control of his body completely now, and he still doesn't know who anyone is, and he wishes that Selena had killed him, but he doesn't even know who it is. He's just saying that he wished that woman had killed him. It's so sad. I've just finished the end of chapter 43. What the hell? So far, let's go back. Back where the witches are. Elide, who is the daughter of the woman that helped save Aelin back in the day when that assassin came to kill her. Her daughter is now with the witches. She's gone down to where the Yellowlegs witches are being kept, and to supposedly birth witchlings. But she's seen what's actually happening, and they're birthing these demon creatures with fangs and snouts and whatever, and they're being held against their will, and they're birthing multiple creatures each, and they're like crying and begging to leave. And she's told Manon. Astrid has fallen off the handle, and yeah, that's where that's been left with that. And then we've gone back to Aelin, who's gone to see Arobynn, and she's taken Rowan and Aedion with her, but then she's been left in a room with Arobynn, and they're just saying their goodbyes. He's given her the amulet, and then, like, at the last second, oh my god, he's put the weird ring on her. I hate him. He took her hand in his thumb caressing her palm. I'm going to enjoy having you back, he purred. Then, faster than she could react, he slid the weird stone ring onto her finger. I literally finished this sentence and I went, no! No! Okay, I'm gonna set the page. I'm not happy. I'm not. He's such a snake. He's such a slimy, disgusting snake. I hate him. So Arobynn now has control of Selena. I was thinking when he put that ring on her, like, oh no, has he like betrayed her to the king? Has the king now got control of her? No, he has control of her. He's like, oh, you just found out from the guy how to do it, and now he's controlling her. And he's just forced her to tell him that she loves him. Oh my god! I'm absolutely raging. I hate him. Oh my god, she's okay! Oh my gosh, she was faking it. He doesn't have control of her. Oh, I'm so glad. So he's like put the ring on her, thinking he's controlling her, and then he's given her instructions to go home, go to sleep. Don't show your friends the ring, don't tell them. So I'm freaking out. And then they get home, and she pulls off the ring, and she's like, so that's what I wanted. So I'm guessing, did the necklace protect her? Okay, so when she caught the Valg, she cut the ring off his finger, put a glove on him, and then had a fake ring made and put it on the other hand So when he cut off the ring, he thought he was cutting off the genuine ring. So presumably when she cut off the ring, the demon didn't have control anymore. And she then got the guy, the human, to lie and pretend to be the demon and tell Arabin the wrong information so that he thought that he could genuinely control her. For some reason, to prove to herself that there was no redeeming him. But we already knew that. That was touch and go. Okay, I've just finished chapter 52. I'm on page 437, so we have about 200 pages left of the book. Woo! That was getting steamy. The tension between Rowan and Aelin. Oh my. We have found out that there is a Valg king buried in Aurelia, in Morath, under Duke Parrington's keep. There may be a Valg king that has been raised by Duke Parrington and the king. Aelin and Rowan have just found out that there are about 3,000 witches and also a huge army of Valg princes, and potentially will be led by a Valg king. We also just found out from Lorcan that the ring that Selena handed over to Maeve would have protected her from the Valg, but she gave it away. This book is getting so good. I'm on page 485. I think I have 160 pages left. It's amazing. Lysandra got taken by the king. Arabin, in his will, left details for the king to let him know that Lysandra is a shapeshifter. So he knew the whole freaking time. So the king took Lysandra, and Aelin found out, and they've gone after Lysandra to try and save her before they take her to Morath. So they've trailed the king's carriage. So there's the king and Dorian and the carriage with Lysandra in. And they have met up with Manon, the 13, and Manon's grandmother. Manon's grandmother has brought a weapon in her carriage, and we don't know what the weapon is. And the king and Manon's grandmother go into the carriage to look at the weapon. And while that's happening, Manon is talking to Dorian. And when Manon gets closer to Dorian, it for some reason makes the prince, the demon prince inside, kind of retreat back. And so Dorian is actually present and remembers his own name for like the first time in like the whole book. So that's super exciting, because that kind of means he's still in there and he's still good, and I thought he was lost. Anyway, they rescue Lysandra, but then Kale, the idiot, Kale decides to go chasing after Dorian to try and kill him, because he realises, well, he thinks his friend's not in there and he needs to just end it before the king takes him back. Kale legs it after the carriage, but he takes a wrong turn and he ends up in the clearing with all the Withens and all of the 13. So Aelin, Adian and Rowan realise he's gone and go chasing after him, and by the time they catch up, Manon has her hands around his neck, right? And I'm kind of thinking, just leave him. Just leave him. I don't want anything to happen to them. I don't care about Kale anymore. He's just annoying at this point. Anyway, Aelin's not gonna do that, because she never does. She is like shuffling her feet, and Manon thinks it's because she's nervous. But she basically talks Manon into handing him over and basically says, take me instead, I'm the queen. And Manon turns around and says, I don't care for prisoners or fighting today. And so she lets Kale go, and she's about to leave. And then Aelin has to open her mouth and mention Babby Yellowlegs, who she killed. And she shows them the scars. Of course, Manon loses her shit and starts running towards Aelin to attack her. What Aelin was actually doing with her feet is putting some weird marks down to protect them, and it creates this shield and kind of holds Manon in place for a couple of minutes. They all start legging it, and they get to this bridge, and there's like a bridge, like some ruins, and then another bridge, and it's over like this massive ravine that like basically you're gonna fall to your death and die if these bridges go. And so they're going across these bridges one at a time, and then the witches are catching up to them. And then Aelin crosses the first bridge, and Rowan goes last, and as Rowan is getting to Aileen, an arrow nearly hits Aileen. The Aster shoots, and Rowan jumps in front basically, and he gets hit in the shoulder, but it said like if he'd have been 1 inch further back it would have hit him in the heart. So there's a near miss for Rowan, a near miss for Aileen, and then so she makes Rowan go across the second bridge first because he's injured, and she makes him go, so he goes without a choice, and then she's about to go, and Manon makes it onto the little island that they're on in the middle of the 2 ravines, and then there's this epic battle between Manon and Aileen, and I like them both, so I'm like, I don't know who to root for here. I just didn't want anything to happen to either of them, and I'm freaking out. I'm like reading it so fast, I'm like, oh my god, what is happening? And it was so epic. And then Aileen gets Manon to like take out some of the columns, and then it crashes down on her, so Manon's like stuck under all this rubble. The island is it's gonna fall, it's gonna collapse completely, so Aileen runs onto the bridge, and then she changes her mind. She like looks back at Manon and she decides to go back for her because she's gonna die, and she goes back and she hits the rubble off Manon, helps her up and drags her ass across this bridge. The island collapses, pulls the bridge taut. Oh my gosh. And they just make it, they leap just as like everything's crashing down, and they make it. So she saved Manon's life after Manon's tried to kill her. And then like the end of the chapter just says, it's from like Manon's perspective, and it says, the Queen of Terrasen had saved her life. Manon didn't know what to make of it, for she now owed her enemy a life debt, and she had just learned how thoroughly her grandmother and the King of Adelan intended to destroy them. Oh my god. What's the weapon? Oh my gosh. Oh yeah, she went in afterwards to see what the weapon is. She knows what the weapon is. I'm so excited. Like, this is getting so good. There is so much to this book. This series is amazing. Okay, I'm getting like that adrenaline that I had from Crown of Midnight. The adrenaline I had towards the end of Crown of Midnight, I am getting that from this book now, and there's still like 160 pages left, whereas I think that was like the last 100 pages. So I'm very, very excited. If it's going to get even better than this, we might be looking at a 5-star. Maybe. I'm going to carry on. This book is killing me. Like, the whole Aileen saving Manon, and then that whole scene between Manon and Astrid, where Astrid tells her about spending time with the human, getting pregnant, what happened to her witchling, and what Manon's grandmother did to her, and the branding that she put on her stomach after she lost the baby. I was crying through that. It was awful. And Braxos sniffing the flowers again, like getting excited over the wildflowers is so cute. The other parts that got me were the part where she explains to Rowan why she saved Manon. And she said, because that golden-haired witch Astrid, she screamed Manon's name the way I screamed yours. How can I take away somebody who means the world to someone else, even if she's my enemy? Oh my god. Killing me. It's killing me. And then the last bit that I've just read is when she's given Lysandra the letter absolving her of all her debts. Basically, she's paid off all Lysandra and Evangeline's debts, and she's freed her. I love Aileen. I love Manon. I love Abraxas. I just love this book. Okay, I think I have about 130 pages left, so I'm going to carry on reading because I want to get this book finished today. So I have finished Queen of Shadows. I'm here to talk about the last section of the book because I didn't film an update right after reading it. So I am having to just click through it and refresh my memory a little bit. But what a book. What an ending. First things first, where we left off. Lorcan has stolen Mav's ring. Rowan trades Lorcan for Mav's ring, which will protect Selena from the Valg. So he gives him what he thinks is the Amulet of Orinth with the weird key inside, but it's actually a fake that they've had made. So he trades him a fake amulet of Orinth and Weird Key, and Lorcan goes off on his merry way to look for the rest of the Weird Keys. So they head off in the morning to enact their plan. Selena and Kale go off to go to the castle, and Adrian and Rowan head down into the tunnels because they plan to blow up the tower and release the magic. They have this stuff called Hellfire, which is going to cause a huge explosion and wipe out the tower. They have to do it in time because Aelin is about to offer herself up to the king. So Aelin and Kale announce themselves at the gates. They've killed all of Kale's guards. They go in to see the king, and something goes wrong. Lorcan has not killed the creatures that were in the tunnels as he told them he had. Instead, he has given them a piece of Rowan's cloak, and they're now tracking Rowan. So Rowan and Adrian get down there to set up this explosion, and they run into a little bit of trouble. And I'm freaking out because they're taking way longer than they should do. And there's a lot of these creatures down there that are ready. Is it the Weird Hounds? They're ready to eat them, kill them. So those two are trying to fight off these Weird Hounds. In the meantime, Selena is already in a room with the king. So is Kale. Kale, for once in his life, does the right thing. And he tries to distract the king while Selena runs away, basically. Dorian runs after Selena. So Kale's left with the king. For the first time ever, doing the right thing, causing a distraction, keeping the king out of Selena's way so that she can do what she needs to do. I liked Kale in this moment. So it says, the king kept approaching and Kale held his sword before him, not yielding one step. For Ress, for Brulo, for Saoirse, for Dorian, for Aelin and Adrian and their family, for the thousands massacred in those labour camps, and for Nesryn, who he'd lied to, who would wait for a return that wouldn't come, for time they wouldn't have together. That line got to me because Nesryn and Kale have a conversation about their future right before he goes off to do this, knowing full well he has no intentions of coming back, leaving Nesryn thinking he will. Ugh, so that bit got me. I'll make it count, Aelin had promised him. He had bought her time. Kale spread his arms wide as the darkness hit him, shattered him, obliterated him, until there was nothing but light, burning blue light, warm and welcoming. Aelin and Dorian had gotten away. It was enough. When the pain came, he was not afraid. At this point, we think Kale's dead. We're now on a bridge with Aelin and Dorian. They're facing off against each other. Well, I say Dorian, it's actually the Valg Prince that is inside Dorian. At the same moment, Rowan and Adrian are struggling to fight off these Weird Hounds. Dorian, the Valg Prince inside Dorian, stabs Aelin. Rowan can feel it because of their connection. And so Rowan is like devastated because he can feel that something bad has happened to Aelin. Anyway, it all looks like everything's gonna go to shit. And then Lorcan turns up in the tunnels because he has scented Adrian and realised that he is the son of his friend. And he didn't intend to have him killed, so he's come back to help save them now. So he's helping fight off the Weird Hounds with them. They manage to light the Hellfire and get out of the way of the blast. So the tower explodes and the magic is released. Everyone's got their magic back. Aelin is still fighting off against Dorian. After he stabs her, she manages to slide on the ring onto Dorian's finger, which is supposed to help protect him from the Valg Prince. So she's shouting at him, telling him he needs to fight it. He needs to fight the prince off now that he's got this ring on his finger. We then get a chapter from Dorian's perspective, who is slowly coming back and realises Selena is in front of him, and he remembers Selena. So when they're in the tunnels, a load of soldiers come in and they can't get out because they've blown up one side and then all the soldiers are at the other side. Next thing you know, Lysandra comes charging through these soldiers, ripping them to shreds because she shapeshifted because the magic's back. So she's now in like her snow leopard form. So Lysandra helps them get out of the tunnels, and then the Demon Prince is still fighting to stay inside Dorian, and the king comes up onto the bridge and he basically tells her that Kale's dead. So Aelin's like, you killed him, and then the king says something along the lines of, my one regret is that I didn't get to take my time doing it. And then all of a sudden we have Dorian back. Dorian turns around and he's like, what did you say? The king then tries to attack Selena and a wall of ice shoots up between them. So Dorian is now protecting Selena from the king. The king basically turns around and says he's going to kill both of them now. So it's Aelin and Dorian versus the king, and they join hands and they manage to fight back the king's power. We discover that the king has been possessed this whole time, including when Aelin was a young girl. So the king reveals that Erewhon is actually Duke Perrington, and he's been in Duke Perrington this whole time. Like, the whole time.
The whole time!
And that the big bad guy is not actually the king, it is actually Duke Perrington, who is Erewhon, and everything that's happened so far has been because of him. Dorian isn't taking this, he doesn't believe him, he's not listening to him. Dorian unleashes his magic and he kills the king. In the process, he also shatters the glass castle completely. So Dorian and Aelin are falling. Luckily, Rowan is very close and manages to stop them from falling to their death. Back with Elide. Elide has been locked up. They're planning on using her the same way they did the Yellow Legs witches, and Manon comes to the rescue along with Astrid and Kaltain. So Kaltain takes out, she has one of the weird stones under her skin in her arm. She takes that out, gives it to Elide, and tells her to take it to Selena Sardothien, who is Aelin Galathinius. But I don't think Elide knows that, so she only has the name of Selena and she doesn't know who that is. Kaltain uses her shadow fire and destroys all of the Yellow Leg witches so that they're not in pain anymore. Destroys a lot of the keep and all the dungeons, and destroys herself in the process. The book ends with Aelin finally stepping across the border into her home, which is Terrasen. It was a wild ride. I can't actually believe how much she managed to pack into this book. I really enjoyed it. It was 5 stars. Crown of Midnight was 5 stars. Queen of Shadows was 5 stars. Really enjoyed it. Really excited to read the next 2. I am doing the tandem read for the next 2 books, so I don't know if that will be one vlog. Maybe it will be broken down into 2. I'll have to see. I know this one was probably very long. Let me know if you enjoyed it. Please give it a big thumbs up if you did, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I will see you next time.